Hey boys and girls, this is the extra help video for the level 3 problems of the word problem escape room. Now in this level there are like 11 different word problems. We're not going to work them all. We're going to work about 8 of them to get them set up so that you can be sure that you're doing these correctly. And as you find your answers to your problems, you get a couple of choices. For example, on this first problem, I already know that my answer choices are either going to be 4 or 8 or 20. So when I work my problems out, I want to keep that in mind to sort of tell me, hey, am I doing this right or not? All right, so let's look at this first one. This one says Jim bought 32 apples from a sale promoting 8 for $5. So he bought 32 apples and he got them 8 for $5. How much did he save by not buying apples from a different sale promoting 4 for $3? So we're really comparing, finding out how much he paid for the 32 apples at 8 for $5, and then how much he paid for the 32 apples at a price of 4 for $3 to see how much he saved with the deal that he went with. Okay, so we're going to first think about what this means. We have 32 apples, and we want to put them in groups of 8 because he got, for every 8 apples, he paid $5. So 32 divided by 8 is going to be 4. All right, so I know that he's got 4 different piles of apples, and for every pile he has, that's going to be $5. So I know that first sale is 4 for $5. So he spent a total of 20 bucks on those apples. All right, in that second promotion that they're talking about, that it advertised, let's see, 4 for $3. All right, so if he needed the 32 apples, what would that look like? Well, 32 divided by 4, put them into groups of 4, and that's going to equal 8. All right, so now I know I've got 8 little piles of apples, 4 in each one, and each of those little piles are going to cost me $3. So that's going to be equal to 8 times the 3. And I can see that 8 times the 3 is going to be $24. All right, so I can see that the first deal was a better deal by how much? Well, I know it was a better deal by $4. All right, so when I look at my maze, I can see, yeah, there's a $4 right there. So I know that I'm going to start at A here, and then my maze is going to go in this direction. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is go to problem B and solve this one. Now this I thought was a really challenging problem. It says Jackie spent half of her allowance on the movies. To earn it back, she mowed the lawn for $8. What is her allowance if she ended up with $18? Well, it says here that Jackie ended up with $18. Hello, dog. Get back. All right, and she had this $18 that she ended with. Okay, stop. After she earned back $18. So if you remember that strategy of working backwards, I would subtract out the $8. So that means before she earned that $8, she had $10. So I know she had $10. And we also know in the problem that she had spent half of her allowance on the movies. So I know that if $10 that she had is half of the amount that she had left over, then the other half of that allowance would have been $10. And so I know that her allowance would have to be 20 bucks. Okay, so that moves us along, and we see we have some options there. So once I see I got $20, I'm going to move over to the right in this puzzle. I'm going to look at problem C. School auditorium has 200 seats. If 150 students and 5 teachers were in attendance, how many of the seats were empty? Well, I know it has 200 seats in that auditorium. And I know that 150 students and 5 teachers were in attendance. So if I combine that amount and then subtract it from the 200, that's going to tell me the total number of people that are in attendance. Oh no, wait a minute. That tells me that how many seats are going to be empty. All right, so I'm not going to write the answer, but you can go on with this one. All right, we're going to go to this problem to the right here. Mary works 8 hours each day from Monday to Friday. How many hours will she work in a 4-week month? I know in 1 week, that's 5 days, and she works 8 hours a day. So that's going to be 8 times 5. So in 1 week, Mary is going to work 40 hours. In 4 weeks, I'm going to have to multiply that times 4 to get the total number she's going to work in a month. Okay, let's look at E. It takes 4 apples to make 1 pie. How many apples does it take to make 5 pies? Well, I know 4 apples are needed for 1 pie, and since I want to make 5 of those, I'm going to multiply it by 5 to get my answer. Problem F. Zoe won 50 raffle tickets at the school fair. She gave 2 tickets to each of her friends and had 10 left. How many people did she give tickets to? Well, I know Zoe had 50 tickets and she had 10 left over. So 50 minus 10 equals 40. So I know she gave away 40 of them and kept 10 herself. How many people did she give tickets to if she gave 2 tickets to each of her friends? Well, that 40 has to be divided into groups of 2 tickets because she's going to give 2 to each friend. And so that's going to tell me how many friends that she was able to give tickets to. Okay, problem G. Mrs. Fox met with 120 students. If 3/4 were girls, how many were boys at the meeting? Well, I know that 3/4 means 3/4. There's a couple ways we could do this problem. I could say, well, I know there are 120 students, so what is 3/4 of 120? And I could solve it in this way. And then that would tell me the number that were girls, and the remaining ones will be boys. Or I could draw this out and say, I know there are 120 students that she met with, and I want to draw a picture of that. And if I divide 120 up into 4 equal parts so that I can show fourths and then take 3/4 of it, well, 120 divided into 4 equal parts would be 30. So I know that each of these parts would have 30 in it. So this tells me that 3/4 of 120 is this amount. So I know that these are the girls. And the remaining amount would be the boys. On problem H, Jane has $20. If pens cost 10 cents each, how many pens could she buy? Well, I know that $20 can be divided into groups of 10 cents. Now I want to remember, if I'm using my dollars here, I want to put my 10 as money also. So it would look like this. And I also know that if I am dividing by a number that is a decimal number, I'm going to have to make it into a whole number by shifting that decimal place. Once I do this, I can divide it just like it's a whole number problem. 10 goes into 20. How many times? Well, it goes into 2 times. I'm going to bring down that next 0. If I bring it down, I must take that division step and just simply say 10 goes into 0 0 times. And then there's one more to bring down. 10 into 0, 0 times. So what does this tell me? It tells me that she can buy 200 pens for 10 cents each. Now you could have also just logicked that out. You could say if a pen costs 10 cents, I can get 10 of them for $1. And then thinking if I had $20, that would make be able to get 200 of them. All right, let's look at letter I. 19 kids take a bus to the zoo. They are to sit 2 or 3 to a seat. There are 7 seats. How many seats will have 3 kids seated on them? Well, I'm going to think about that by thinking I've got 19 kids and I have to spread them out over 7 seats. I know 7 goes into 19 2 times, and 2 times 7 is 14. And that leaves 5 left over. So that means if I put 2 kids in every seat, I'm still going to have 5 kids left over. So those 5 kids are going to have to go in 5 of those seats, making 3 kids in 5 of those seats. Let's draw a picture of that. 7 seats. I put 2 in each seat from my original problem. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 kids. There's 5 kids left over, so I'm going to add 1 here until I get all 5 of them in a seat. So that shows me the number of kids are going to have 3 in a seat. The number of seats are going to have 3 kids in it. All right, letter J. Mike bought 4 hot dogs, 2 servings of nachos, and 4 pizzas. Each of the items cost $1.50. How much did he pay for all the food? Well, this problem has a couple of ways we could solve it. We could either look at each individual item and multiply it by $1.50 and then add it all up, or since they all cost the same, I could just say, well, there's 4 hot dogs and 2 servings of nachos, so that's 6 items. And then 4 pizzas, that's going to be 10 items altogether. So I'm going to have 10 items that each cost $1.50 each. And then I would multiply that out to get my answer. In the last one, Superman jogs 4 miles in 1 hour. At that rate, how far can Superman jog non-stop in 2 days? All right, well, I know that he's running at 4 miles an hour, and he's going to do this for 48 miles. So I'm going to simply multiply those two to get my answer to that question. All right, I hope this helped you with all the level 3 problems on the escape room. Remember, you're going to look after you solve all your problems and see the direction that your path goes through that maze to make your escape. All right, have a great day. Bye.